that you want to lose weight for whatever the reason may be, this video is for you. The next couple of videos are going to be for you because that's what we're going to focus on. And that's what this channel is about. It's about the habits that it takes you to get from point A to point B, or point A to point Z. And like, however I can help you, I'm looking to help you do it. So what's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of Creating Habits. And today's episode is going to be about weight loss and the things that you need to do in order to lose weight, particularly your routine, your habits. What are you doing every day? The structure in which you should do it and how you should do it, and what's really even behind that. We're really going to peel some layers back on it, okay? So right now, you're seeing a picture of me. In this picture, I was probably about 340 pounds. I'm 6'4", and a lot of people will say like, well, that's not bad, but that's the largest I had ever been. And I'm not here to shame anyone for their weight or anything like that, because there are a multitude of reasons why we gain weight, or why we don't look the way that we look, or why do we want to gain weight. I mean, why we want to lose weight. All that I am here to do is to actually help you with some things. If you especially if you felt that like losing weight is hard for you, the dieting is hard for you, um, sticking to the gym is hard for you, whatever it is.
So I get a lot of questions, I get a lot of comments, I get a lot of, well, my team gets a lot of emails just about like, what are the things that you need to get into the events-based industry, right? So this is what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you 3 things that you don't need to get into the industry right now. And then what I want you to do to learn the rest of the things that you do need is, well, let me give you the 3 first. So listen. You don't need a whole lot of space, all right? You can start out with a venue that's 1,000 square feet. You know, you just got to decide what you're going to do on the inside of that location, whatever it may be. You don't need to have everything together. And when I say everything together, I mean you don't need to have all your tables, all your chairs, all your decor. You don't need to have all those things when you're first starting out. All right. Only thing you really need is some white walls, like you see behind me, and your floors, like you see. And that's it. That's all you really need. Oh yeah, and maybe a speaker. That's it. That's the minimum that you actually need to start out. And last but not least, of things that you don't need. You don't need to have a parking lot to run your events-based business. Now I'm saying this coming from a place where maybe, you know, parking, I know some of you, parking may be required for in your actual city and state, but 9 times out of 10, you don't need parking. Like there's just generally is not going to be that requirement. People are still going to book your venue and continuously book your venue if they have to pay for a location. So those are the 3 things that you don't need. Now, if you want to find out everything that you do need to actually start, what you want to do is you want to get into the 5-day venue training accelerator, right? Where I'm going to cover everything from finding the space, funding the space, starting the business, running the business, operating it, automating it, everything, all right? But I'm going to cover that. I used to do it in 2 days. We're going to take it a full 5 days, all right? So what you want to do right now is you want to click the link down below right now. You want to get into VIP. You want to get into the VIP 5-day venue accelerator program, all right? It's just for you.
So major reason why I created the channel was because I wanted to help people, not just, I mean, of course, create better habits, but really peel back what it means, really like break down, get to the foundation of what that means. Like, and it's your daily routine. It's the things that you do on autopilot. But in order to get to a point where you're doing quote unquote better things on autopilot, or you're doing things that you wouldn't typically do, things that are going to benefit you more than anything else on autopilot, is going to be, and to really create that lifestyle change, you have to assess your routines. What are you doing in the morning, and all these different things. So that's pretty much why I started the channel, and that's why I've been, and I guess in essence, I never really got around to talking about that part as much, but I hope that like you have gotten that from the channel overall, if especially if you're just not tuning in. Like if you checked out some of the other videos, they've been kind of centered around event spaces or and how to live an abundant life and all these a lot of different other things, but they all really tie into your habits. Like you can't become a business owner without having a certain set of habits or skills or routine that's already in place. You have to do things a certain way, and you have to have kind of like a system in place in order to be a business owner. You have to have a really good system and strategy in place in order to be a good business owner. So, uh, getting into getting into today's episode about weight loss and some of the things that you need to actually do to not just lose weight, but how do you lose weight without going to the gym? Now, this may be a multi-part episode because I don't want to make it that long because I understand you have stuff to do and I got stuff to do too, and I don't want to keep you here all day watching this video when you can be out being productive, even more productive. And so, essentially, before we even get, before we like, I guess, cover that part about not going to the gym, we have to address like, well, what are you really looking to do? What are you really looking to do?
Dry skin, dead skin, you tired of looking crusty? Go to thatgirlskin.com and get yourself together, all right? Man, amazing products, all right? So again, one more time, thatgirlskin.com, and I got a discount code for you below. Peace.
So we have to address what do you want? So what do you want? Uh, what exactly are you looking? What is? And of course, you got to be specific though. Like you can't just say, "Oh, well, I want to lose weight." That's a big problem in itself, right there, because you're not being specific. And so it's hard for you to hit a target, reach your goal, um, get to where you want to get to if you really don't know where you're going. And then the part of where you're going is in what do you want. So what do you want from yourself from a health aspect? Like, are you looking to lose a certain amount of pounds because you want to fit into maybe it's some clothes or some jeans or whatever or a shirt, or maybe you want to drop a couple sizes? Or are you looking at a certain amount of pounds because, oh, I guess it's the same thing. You're about to go on vacation, and you want to you want to look good on the beach. Um, do you is it because, I don't know, for health reasons? Like, what is it? Like, what do you really want out of it, right? Like, what is the I guess a better thing to ask is, what is your purpose behind it? Like what's the real reasoning, right? What's gonna get you to getting to actually hit that goal, hit that target? Um, and that what can you do today that you haven't tried before that's going to really get you there? Because everything up until today, let's just look at it like this. Maybe you've gotten the weight off, but how do you really keep it off? Now, what I will say is that when I decided, because it's a decision that you have to make, when I decided that, I was going to get the weight off and just keep it off, that right there. But it was the fact that I decided to make a lifestyle change. Like, the problem is that the reason why it's probably been hard before is because the target is really, it's vague, it's out there, or I just want to lose weight, or I just want this. But what happens though? What happens when you reach that target and then you don't know what to do? And so then what are you going to do? You're going to naturally revert back to where you were already at. So if you commit to it being more of a lifestyle change, it's going to be easier. So we've cleared it up what we actually want. You understand the concept of, you understand that you actually have to set a target. So what is it that you actually want to do? Maybe your target is to lose, you want 30 pounds lost, you want to lose 30 pounds, and you want to keep the weight off. All right. So if you're looking to lose 30 pounds and you want to keep the weight off, the target can't be to just lose 30 pounds. You can't say, well, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, because what are you going to do after that? What is going to be the thing that's going to keep you to keep you there after that? So this is what we want, right? We figured out, okay, we got to really establish, set a real target. This is what we want. We want to lose, say for, and you can replace this number with any number, but we want to lose 30 pounds. How do we do that though, right? Full disclaimer, I'm not I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not any of those things. However, I am a person that has a that does understand the way that I'll say the way that that once you decide to change your daily routine, it'll impact your life in so many different ways. And once you commit, and it's just funny that that's the one thing that how we lose whatever the weight is that we want to lose. We got to commit. But what are we committed to, right? So what are you really committed to? You got to commit, but commit to what though? And it's to the process. You got to commit to the process, like to the process of you losing the weight and then keeping it off. And so what that process is going to take. So what is the process of you? What does commitment take? And then what is the process of you keeping the weight off take? You have to break those two things down. Well, commitment takes consistency. So you got to be consistent with whatever you decide what to do in order to lose the weight. So we're talking about losing weight overall right now. We're not the on the next episode. I'll probably focus on how you do it without. It'll be the part two to it. We'll dive deeper into how you do it without going to the gym. But first, we're attacking the fact. What we're going over first right now is like the mindset portion of it, because that is honestly, it's mindset is everything. And if you don't have it up here, if you don't know up here, if you don't really believe that this is what you want to do, if you're not committed in the mind, you won't get it done. If you're not committed to the process of whatever it's going to take, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes, right? So you got to commit first, and then you're committing to the process. And you may be asking, well, Jarrel, how do you commit? Like, how do I actually commit to this thing that I before I haven't been able to do, I haven't been able to keep up with it? Well, first we set small, achievable goals with it. Because the a major thing is that, well, even before that, we set those small goals. We got to decide that we're going to do it, and then once you make that decision, you got to also too say that I'm going to be committed to my decision. So make the decision, decide first, and then how the how part is going to come later. But you first have to decide that you're actually going to do it. And you have to, and in that decision, each and every day, you're going to do something small to get you there. The thing is that you didn't gain or get the weight that you want to lose all overnight. It didn't happen overnight. It was something that happened progressively. So what is progression? Progression, like over time, the same level of progression over time, I guess would honestly be the same thing as being consistent. So you have to consistently do the same thing each and every day. And that same thing is you have to consistently decide every day that you want this weight gone. Every day you got to wake up and you got to decide, yo, I want this weight going, and I'm going to do whatever it takes today and each and every day. And that has to always be in the back of your head all the time, because if you're not consistent, then you're not going to ever reach the goal. Like, and instead of saying, well, I'm going to do it in 6 months, because then what happens is if you don't do it in 6 months or 3 months or a month or 2 months, then you get discouraged, and then you just don't, and then you just never go back to it again. And then you're looking at it like, oh, I can't ever do this again because it didn't happen how I wanted to happen. But that is a big part of the problem when we're setting our goals. We're looking at it, what if it doesn't happen in this point in time? Focus on the outcome. Focus on the outcome. And when it comes to weight specifically, setting weight goals is a little bit more difficult, because you have to really commit more to the actual process than the amount of time that the process is going to take, because you really don't know how long it's going to take. But if you commit to the process, and you get to the point where you're like, okay, this is the process and I'm just going to go through it. This is just my journey, and I don't know how long my journey is going to be, but I'm going to go through it every day. If you look at it from a marathon aspect, you'll get there a lot faster. And I don't mean that in a literal sense, but I'm saying, like, just, it's a marathon, it's continual. Like, every day, in order for me to remain, to be at where I'm at now, I'm like 230 now, where I was at like 340. So every day to remain at somewhere around that weight, at 6'4", I have to be consistent and committed to the process and my journey. And I know I'm on a marathon, and every day to run, businesses. It's consistent. It's a marathon. It's a process, and so like it's nothing really overnight. And that's one thing that you have to erase when you're looking at trying to lose, whatever it is, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds. Because after you lose the weight, you don't want to just lose the weight to fit into that outfit. You don't want to just lose the weight to look good for the summer. You don't want to just lose the weight just because. No, you want to lose the weight. You want to keep it off, and you want to keep it off so you're going to feel better about yourself. Because I mean, like I know we've all heard the saying: "You look good, you feel good." And so you want to lose the weight so you're always feeling good, because in your mind you're always looking good, so you're always feeling good. So in order to do that, you gotta stay committed to the process, and you gotta understand it's a marathon. The word that's most important is consistent. You got to be consistent. And I hope I spelled that right. If I didn't, y'all blame me in the comments, do whatever. Whatever. But you got to be consistent, right? We have to be consistent. So that means every day in the back of your head, you know you're on this journey. You got to go after it. You got to stick with it. Every day, even when you don't want to. That's what consistency is. Even when you don't want to eat right, you got to eat right. Even when you don't want to go to the gym, you got to go to the gym. Even when you don't want to, you still got to do it, because that is consistency. Because you're never going to always feel like doing it all the time. I listen, I've been on my journey for a long time. A lot of it starts with the very first point of it is deciding, right? Once you decide, then everything else works itself out. And so now I'm a vegetarian, and these next couple of videos that I'm going to put out about losing weight are not really all about becoming a vegetarian or anything of that nature, but more so about deciding than anything else. That's what you're really going to hear me talk about more than anything else, is about the decisions that you make. And that's with everything. And so the thing is that the more that I'm consistent, the easier things become. But then at the same time, you just don't know. One day may be a little bit harder than the last. But then when I look back, like, oh, I've been consistent for over a year, a vegetarian, and some days, weeks, months, I'm a vegan. Some days, weeks, months, I may go full vegan, and just so it's like I've been consistent this long. What's another day? That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. That's where my mental state is with it. It's like I've been consistent for a year. I can do another year, and then another year happens. Then I can go do 2 years. And well, as you all, when you all see this video, I've been consistent now for well over a year now. But what I'm getting at is that it's your level of consistency is what's going to determine whether or not you can do something. But in order for you to be consistent, you have to decide. Everything is a decision. When you don't do something, that's still a decision. When you do something, that's a decision. So when you have two options, one option is to like at most restaurants. Now, I used to love steak. So one option is to get the 6-ounce steak, or get the 12-ounce steak, or the 8-ounce, or whatever. Well, I mean, you have 2 or 3 decisions right there to make. But when you decide to get the 12-ounce, knowing that you're on a journey, you made a decision. Now, is that the best decision for you? Is that the best thing that you could have done? No. So why not get the lesser of the 3, or the lesser of the 2? Because it's all in the things that we choose to do. It's the choices that we make that help us with our consistency, because that's when you're going to start to see results, when you make better choices. And like I said, that's really what we're going to be focusing on, like over these next couple of episodes, like when you make better choices. So those are the things that this is where I'm going to leave it at. In part 2, we're going to really dive into especially, and part 2 is going to especially be for you if you've been considering becoming a vegetarian. It's not going to solely be about that. It's not going to only be about that. But part 2 is definitely going to be about the process of getting it done without going to the gym. and the mindset behind that, the process of losing weight without going to the gym and the mindset behind it. And I'm letting you all know, like, I go to the gym now, and when I lost a certain amount of weight, it wasn't until I had lost probably about uh, somewhere around 80 pounds or 65, 70 pounds, was when I started to actually go to the gym, because I didn't really notice it. Like, and then I was like, oh man, I really have lost weight. And so I went from like a 3X, now I wear a large. Sometimes I can get away with a medium. So I went from a 3X to essentially like in between a large and a medium. So yeah, you know that you want to lose weight for whatever the reason may be. This video is for you. The next couple of videos are going to be for you, because that's what we're going to focus on. And that's what this channel is about. It's about the habits that it takes you to get from point A to point B, or point A to point Z. And like, however I can help you, I'm looking to help you do it. So like I said, I've lost well over 60, 70 pounds. I used to be 340, 345. Currently now I'm like 230. And yeah, so uh, and I did this during the pandemic too. So stay tuned for part two. As I mentioned before, that's a quick recap. You gotta figure out what you want. Once you figure out what you want, figure out the purpose of it. That's the purpose. Like, why are you actually doing this thing? Why are you choosing to lose weight? And it has to be bigger than something small as, because it's really small to say, well, I just want to get into these. That's a small thing. And sometimes if the goal is, if the why that you're doing it is not big enough, and if it's not meaningful enough to you, you won't actually get it done. Otherwise, you would already have it done. So then after that, we figured out that we got to actually commit, and we're not just committed, but we got to commit to the process. And then in order to do that, we got to be consistent. So that's where I'm going to end things at. And then, like I said, stay tuned for part two. Part two, we're going to cover how you can actually apply all of these things, get it going, start to see some changes, and that you're going to see these changes without even going to the gym. So see you in the next episode. Y'all know what we're doing. We're creating habits around here. This is Jarrel, and I'm out. Peace.